San Ysidro is the busiest border crossing in the world. Ukrainians or Russians are among the many travelers who arrived recently in Mexico and are now seeking refuge in the United States. Vladimir and his family left Ukraine on February 24th, the first day of the war.
Мы только приехали только с самолета. Мы в Мексико-Сити ждали 11 часов самолета. Як ми почуваємося? Ну, втомлені і немає настрою, як війна в країні, ну.
The family rushed out of Ukraine and then traveled for 20 days, crossing 8 European countries.
It was not easy because we cry and in our city too розбомбили аеропорти.
This war has already pushed more than 3 million Ukrainians into exile, mainly to neighboring countries. But for some of them, reaching Mexico and then the United States sounded like a safer option. Anastasia joined her American husband here. She left her city, Kharkiv, just before the start of the Russian offensive.
House already was bombed. My grandmother's house was already bombed.
You lost your uncle?
Yeah, my uncle died. The Russians shoot him.
After a few hours of waiting, the American guards allow them into the United States. Most asylum seekers will not be so lucky. Nastya, Artem and their son have just arrived from Russia.
We are seeking political asylum in USA. We are Protestant and we work American church in Russia. We are oppressed and considered American Western agents.
They are not allowed to cross the border because of Title 42. This provision of American law prevents migrants from filing asylum applications on American soil. The law was adopted 2 years ago as a protective measure against COVID-19. More and more Russians find themselves stranded in Tijuana. This is the case of Agata and her family. They arrived in Mexico 2 weeks ago.
I feel bitter. I just look at this border. I never saw it before, but it looks quite awful. All that virus. They look so cruel. Like they stop people from escaping from what they're running, what they're afraid of, and it also looks so cruel.
Close to opposition leader Alexei Navalny, the family chose to leave the country when repression turned tougher.
Сейчас, после начала войны в Украине, с Украины.
After the start of the war in Ukraine, the political situation in Russia deteriorated.
Буквально, когда мы выехали из России.
Right after we left Russia, Putin signed a law punishing people who call this conflict a war with up to 15 years in prison.
Можно людей посадить на 15 лет тюрьмы.
Migrant aid associations continue to denounce the injustice of Title 42.
It endangers people's lives and it denies them their right to benefit from international protection. Here along the border, we have thousands of families in such dangerous cities as Tijuana, Ciudad Juarez and Reynosa, where they are at risk. Mexico is not a safe third country.
Tijuana has long embodied a dashed hope for thousands of migrants. At the Casa del Migrant, Hondurans, Salvadorans, Haitians, and Mexicans are desperately waiting to file their asylum application. Etienne has been here for 3 months and would like to see solidarity with the Ukrainians extended to others.
I understand that they let Ukrainians in given the circumstances, but we mustn't forget the Haitians.
Since its implementation under Donald Trump, Title 42 has reportedly blocked nearly 1 million people at the border between Mexico and the United States.
They observe. They contact us. They report, film, photograph. They are the voice of the voiceless. Your eyes in the far-flung reaches of the world. The observers, a network of 5,000 committed citizens working with France 24.
One of our observers in Côte d'Ivoire, Gaspard.
Amateur footage and testimonials checked by our journalists and broadcast weekly on The Observers, on France 24 and observers.france24.com.